Hello everyone, my name is Fred Gandolfo from Firehouse Systems. This video is to introduce, for the service tech, the simple and easy installation of a Cat 2 cylinder accountability tag system on a Scott RevolveAir fill enclosure. The components you'll receive in the carton are the Microsoft computer, along with the power supply, 2 magnetic wire hangers, 12-volt DC transformer, 2 Cat scanners. These scanners actually scan the label on the cylinder and they mount inside the fill enclosure. The computer mounting bracket, in this case we have a fingerprint reader. It comes standard with a key fob. You can order it with the optional fingerprint reader. On one side of the electronic box is one USB for position 1, the power supply input. On the other side are the 2 locking keys for the computer, the electrical bypass switch, and the second USB for position 2. This all mounts as one piece right on the RevolveAir fill enclosure. I'll turn this over to Jim McKenna, our service tech, and he'll go through the motions that you need to make this work. Thank you.
Today we're going to learn how to install the Cat 2 system, the cylinder accountability tag, on the Scott RevolveAir fill enclosure. The first thing we want to do, of course, with anything we're working on, we want to find and locate the disconnect for the electric, lock and tag it out. After we're done locking and tagging out our compressor, we're going to isolate our storage by shutting this valve, come around front here, open our bleed valve to the RevolveAir, swing the door around, lock it down, bleed the air out of the system until the compressor pressure gauge is at 0 and the storage pressure gauge is at 0. So once the air is isolated and the disconnect is off, we're going to proceed with our first part on our installation. The first part of the install will remove our center cover screw from our RevolveAir with a Phillips head screwdriver. Second, we want to have a 1/2 inch drill to drill through the cover to allow our Cat wires to come through for our manifold inside. Once we are done drilling our 1/2 inch hole in our cover, we want to remove it to notch out the rest of the hole. After we notch out our cover, we want to take a fine file and clean up the rough edges. Our next step will be to remove our 1/4 inch air line that comes from our fill control valve to our RevolveAir door switch. After our 1/4 inch line is removed, we are going to remove our 1/4 inch fittings coming from the bottom of the T for the fill control valve, and this fitting here, which is for your door activation switch. Once we have removed our compression fittings, we're going to install a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch male JIC fitting off the fill control valve and a 1/4 inch male by 1/4 inch female JIC to the door toggle switch. Next, we want to take our pressure reducer and adjust that for our Cat solenoid on the Cat manifold. What we're going to do is loosen our locking nut right here, adjust the reducer approximately 2.5 turns down to bring it to 100 psi. After we adjusted our pressure reducer, we want to remove our 1/8 inch tubing and our 1/8 inch by 1/4 inch fitting on the top of the reducer. Then we're going to install our 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch tubing T. Next, we're going to be installing our Cat manifold, which is made up of our mounting bracket, solenoid valve, 1/8 inch tubing control line, dome load valve, transducer, inlet, outlet connections. Next, we will be installing our 3/16 7,000 PSI Parflex hose for our inlet and outlet connections. One is 12 inches and one is 18 inches. Inlet hose connection from the bottom of the T for the fill control valve over to the front of the dome load valve here. Discharge from the top of the dome load valve to the top of the door switch for the RevolveAir. Next, we are going to install our tubing for our control air for our solenoid valve. First, hooking up our initial air line, then we're going to take our 1/8 inch tubing, connect there over to our solenoid valve on the front of the Cat manifold. Our next step is to run our wires through our 1/2-inch hole for our solenoid and our transducer, centering the cat for mounting procedures. After we have marked our mounting bracket, we are going to drill 2 5/16 holes for our 1/4-20 mounting screws. Next, we are going to do the wiring for our solenoid valve with our 2-conductor wire. Next, we are going to hook up our transducer, which is a 3-conductor color-coded wiring, red to red, black to black, white to white. After we have installed our wire nuts, we will take the excess wire and tuck it to the side of the X4 controller. Next, we're going to remove our cover bracket for our computer. And install our Surface Pro computer. Before we install our computer, we are going to install our power supply cord, making sure that we are holding it tight so it does not slip and fall. Making sure that the fingerprint reader wire is behind. Taking our power supply cord, going inside the mounting lock and out to the back. Then we're going to install our computer bracket and securing our locks by pushing in tabs. Next step, we're going to plug in our USB cord from the back of our control panel into our computer. Next, we are going to install our DC power supply for our control panel, attached to 110-volt outlet or power strip.
Before we go further on the installation, I wanted to point out how the label and the eye works. This happens to be a Scott cylinder. Our labels will work on any brand cylinder that you have, whether it's Scott or MSA or Avon, Honeywell, whatever you have, they'll work. The way we set it up on a Scott is if we look at the triangular portion of the bumper and we set the label directly below that and in center with that line. So we know that whatever Scott cylinder we put it on, it will always be in the same position. The eyes, or scanners as we refer to them, are going to look right down at that label to pull up all the cylinder data. So imagine this sitting inside the fill enclosure. Two things are going to happen. They're going to be further back than you're seeing now, and they're going to be on the opposite side. So when you put these in, this scanner is really going to be on this side reading, and this scanner is going to be on this side reading.
First thing we want to do before mounting the cat eye is disconnect the USB cord from the cat eye itself, which is 2 white dots here, pulling back on one side and disconnecting. Next, we are going to install our cat's eye inside the RevolveAir with our mounting magnet. We'll then take our power supply cord and go behind the roll pins for the door locking. Next, we are going to take our mounting magnet, hook it through our wire, and secure it up into the top corner of the RevolveAir. Next, we will take our wires, insert them in the holes on the bottom of the RevolveAir coming out of the bottom. After pulling the wire through the bottom of the RevolveAir, we're going to connect our USB fitting, which is the 2 white dots together, and pushing forward. Next, we are going to bring the USB cord up onto the side of the machine and into our USB connection on our control panel. After plugging in the 2 white dots together to the other side, bring your USB cord up to the control panel.
We've installed all the hardware for the CAT system. Now it's time to program the eyes and align them. The first thing we do is we sign into the CAT. In this case, we have a fingerprint reader, so we'll use our fingerprint to get in. Before you could sign in, you have to press the red box so the icon is flashing. Otherwise, the fingerprint will not be recognized. Put your fingerprint on the slot and log in. Before we go any further, we want to connect to Wi-Fi. In case you have any problems aligning the eyes or operating the system, you'll want the factory to help you. The only way we can do that is if you're connected to Wi-Fi. If you don't have Wi-Fi, you can use your phone as a hotspot. Click Wi-Fi settings, choose search for available Wi-Fi, choose your Wi-Fi, and enter the password as you'd normally do. Once that's done, close out, and you're in the CAT system. In order to align the eyes, we have to swipe out of the CAT system and close it out. So we swipe from the left-hand side of the screen to the right, and you'll see that the CAT screen is minimized. There's a little X on the top right-hand corner. Press that X, and you'll actually shut the CAT off, but the computer will stay on. Press one of the windows on the bottom, and you now opened up a desktop without the cat in place. In order to align the eyes, we have to plug each eye with 2 ports into the cat system. To do that, we'll unplug one position and work with only one at a time. We'll unplug this port. You'll hear the beep. We'll install our extension cable and connect it to the second USB port on the eye. Once that's set, you press Auto ID twice. You can maximize the program so you can see it better, and press Monitor. Now what you're seeing in this black section is what the CAT scanner is seeing inside the fill enclosure. We need to adjust our eyes so they're right on the tags, and I'll give you Jim for that.
Now that we have a visual on our cat's eye and a cylinder, we have to adjust the eye to read the tag. So we're going to open our door, adjust our eye until we get a good visual on the tag. It probably will take a few tries to do it, and as you can see, the light is kind of reflecting on that. You could actually turn down the brightness over here. Now we could see our cylinder better. And actually you could see the cat tag right in the left-hand corner right there. So we're going to adjust it to read that fully. See, we're starting to come out of the left-hand corner. So it just needs a little more adjustment. As you can see, the green box is flashing, and on your screen you will see the tag reading at 100%. Now that I have adjusted the brightness on the cat tag, it's easier to read. You can see that the green box is now locked into the tag and it is reading 100%. Next, we're going to go over to the tuning icon and press that. Now it is tuning the eye to the tag. Once complete, it will come up with configuration is complete. Press OK, and then go into the top right-hand corner and hit Send Configuration icon. And then it will come up configuration complete, and then just press OK, and you now aligned your eye for the tag. Repeat process for the second position. In order to program the second reader, we have to close out of the program. So we'll go up to the top right X, and then you'll have a message, do you want to save? Press no. In order to program the second reader, we must remove our USB cord from our first reader, connect to our second reader, and attach to our USB port. Press the Auto ID icon twice, and then we are going to hit Monitor to give us a visual on the cat cylinder tag. Now we could see our cat tag in the lower left corner. The eye has to be adjusted. As we could see, it's still not in the center, but it is reading. So we want to see how far we could get it to read in the center. Now you can see the green box is outlined on the cat tag and it is reading 100%. So next we are going to hit our tuning icon and the reader will self-tune. Configuration is complete. Send configuration, top right corner, press configuration sent successfully. And the second one is ready for use. After you're done programming the readers, remove the USB extension and plug back in the reader. After you're done with the program, you'll come to the cat screen. We want to go to CatNet, press twice, then you'll come up in the login screen. When you're ready to log in, press the red name icon box, use your fingerprint. Now that our install is complete, we want to check, make sure our unit is working properly. We're going to press our cylinder icon. On the bottom here, you'll see Add, Edit, Delete. We want to press the Add button, X out of our keypad, and then go to Position 1, reading the cylinder, and then go to Position 2, reading the cylinder. Now we can see we are reading Marlboro-081 tag number, so we know our work is complete.